Hello and welcome to episode 79 of the Youth Intake Challenge. It's Youth Intake Day, a quick progress update, and then we'll get straight into the intake and see how we get on towards the end of the episode. Competition-wise then, not doing great. I'm not going to lie, not doing terrible, but 12th position in the Premier League, 10 points behind with 8 games to go. So it's going to be a bit of a stretch getting in there unless we get some additional European places from English clubs winning in Europe or through the seedings for extra competition places. Not sure we can do it by league placings. I think we've got a fairly good run in towards the end of the season, so we should pick up some points, but not counting my chickens before they hatch on that one. Champions League, we got knocked out in the league phase. We couldn't get enough points to get through. I think we finished with a draw against Atletico Madrid and went out. But first time in the competition. We probably messed up at Trabzonspor with a 5-5 draw at the start. But we'll look to build on. Next time we get in the competition, we'll hopefully look to go a bit further. UEFA Super Cup, we've already covered. Carabao Cup, we got knocked out by Chelsea. But what we do have is we have an FA Cup semi-final against our rivals, Crystal Palace. So that is what I'm going to put everything into in trying to get back into Europe next season. That's the one I'm going to focus on. Hopefully we can get through the semi-final. Then it's Arsenal, Tottenham, Norwich or Burnley in the final if we can do it. In terms of the schedule, I mean, after a really slow, poor start, we have picked up in recent weeks. Lots of draws, still not setting the world on fire. However, we have added a new tactic in. Thanks for the comment section for suggesting playing with a shadow striker. We have used it in a couple games. So we used it in the 5-1 victory over Arsenal. We used it in the Leicester game. Got a 1-0 win in the FA Cup, 5th round. And we used it against QPR in the quarterfinal. So starting to use it a bit more. I'll just quickly show you it and take you through what it is. It's not too different from what we currently play. Instead, we have two deep line midfielders. We've got a defensive midfielder and I can't know what it's called, Vol. The really pretty sounding one. Let me see if I can find it. So Segundo Volante, that's it. So the one that sounds like you're in an Italian art piece. So that's the one we're going for Sarkodie. Primarily we've gone for shadow striker so we can get Primus and Liebird in the same team. I think Primus will drop into the shadow striker, Liebird will go up top, and then it'd be Sarkodie and Oviedo in the bottom, which leaves us a plethora of really good defensive midfielders coming through, which we'll cover shortly. But the team's really starting to take shape. Fehim Kutlu cemented himself as number one goalkeeper now. So much so that we've actually sold Ibrahim for 18 million, I think it was. If I can find the fee. Should be in here somewhere. Definitely sold someone for 18 million. There we go. So Felix Ibrahim, PSG. He's gone out. He's not worth 18 million now. So I think we sold him at the right time. Would be a useful sign as a C for us, 29-year-old Ghanaian. But yeah, to go. What that means is we've promoted Ricardo Duncan into the team. He's come in. We had to play a game without him. Lynch covered one game in the FA Cup, I think. But we brought Ricardo Duncan back because he's the next highest goalkeeper, and that kind of cements us two really high potential goalkeepers for long term. So that's been one of the massive positives. Samana's got more and more game time. Joseph's got more and more game time, but things are looking really, really positive on that front. So that's the competitions. That's your schedule. That's how we currently sit. What we really want to see now is the youth intake. So I'll get his ready, and we can have a little look through that. And here we go. So 3 elite talents. 2 top talents, and then the rest I think we're going to just avoid. Certainly the decent talents with only gusting 1-star potential, not gonna really look at them. Also not going to look at any of these because I think we've had some good ones come through recent years. The last intake we signed its entirety, so that's bolted out the squad, so I really don't want to waste any time with the good talents down the bottom. So we'll get straight into the top talents. We've got Amika Raji, defensive midfielder. That should play into our long-term switch in formation to having a shadow striker with 2 deep line, if he can make it. Driven personality, which we all know is our favourite. It's becoming a very, very hot topic every time I'm on now. But he's looking like he could be a player. Although his potential's 3, gusting 4. Not sure if he can compete with some of the other defensive midfielders in the team like Kiwa. But we'll sign him up and we'll give him a chance. Maybe he can develop slightly further than that, but his stat spread looks quite good in terms of the mental, pretty good in the physical, but his technical doesn't look like what we're really looking for as a club moving forward. Then we've got a Northern Irish central defender called Stephen McDonald, 182 centimetres, so not overly tall, a bit taller than me, but there you go. Tackling, marking, positioning, heading, so he's got the ones he needs. Jumping, reach and strength is alright. So again, 3 gusting 4 potential, long-term rotational centre-half maybe, because I think again we've had some good centre-halves come through in recent years, but we'll snap him up. It's probably going to be my favourite, Darius Spahar. Everyone loves a German forward. So advanced forward, and he's got finishing first touch. Dribbling's a bit lower than we would have liked, but he has got good work rate and technique. Casual personality, but he seems to have quite a good mental spread. He's got teamwork as well. Physical's looking alright, but his strength's not great. But however, he's only 15, so that can develop. Looking pretty handy, that. And as we go to a shadow striker, I mean, it's not on there as it's a position for him, but if he's an advanced forward rotational with Liebert, with Raheem sitting in behind him, then this could be a good little rotational, depending how quickly he can develop. So Darius Spahar, one that I'm particularly excited about, because I think long term in the future, if we can get a good German striker firing on all cylinders, I think that can only be beneficial. Next one we've got, I'm going to leave Christian Fuchs because he's the so-called pick of the bunch. So we'll go to Victor Rutks. Okay, now he's bound to have a second nationality, but 5-star potential, 4 gusting 5, good work rate, balanced personality, reasonable physicals, but he's a little bit lacking in some of the other ones. He's a winger, not entirely sure if he can compete with Samana and the likes, but again, he's in that top threshold, so we'll sign him up and see how he develops. Certainly, he's not a terrible player. And then the jewel in the crown, so to speak, already a 2-star current ability, gusting 4 to 5. Chris Fuchs, inside forward on the right hand side, and he looks quite the player already. So his physicals look tremendous for a 15-year-old. He's got dribbling, finishing, first touch, all in the yellow, so 11 and above. He's got technique, he's got vision, he's got flair, he's got pace and acceleration. So he's probably going to go straight in and around the first team squad, because I think 2-star is probably enough. When you look at the development centre, that's kind of the threshold they put, and you can see already Chris Fuchs is in there as one of the first and best to get into the first team squad. Kelton Neves and Paul Brown, 2 other players that will probably come into the first team squad next season. And finally, before we go, speaking of the squad, we're down to 24 players. We did start with about 28, gusting 30 at the start of the season to rotate them through all the competitions. As we've gone out, I've just reduced it slightly. I've sent some of the players out on loan, sold Ibrahim, for example, and I'm just looking to rotate some of the players out who we're not going to keep in there long term, and start making space for some of the other ones coming through. Because certainly next year, if we're looking at the 2-star players coming up from the under-21s, there's a lot of them, so all the way down to, I mean, John O'Carr's not coming back in the squad, but if we look at Jesper Strid's going to be involved, Josh Harris, Zvinganis, Neves, Brown, and that probably be it really. So a good 4, 5 players in there, then more to backfill and come through there. We've also got the players from the under-18s if there's any suitable, none quite ready yet, and then we've got the one from the youth candidates. We'll get Chris Fuchs in there as well. So squad's looking like it's shaping up nicely for next season. I'll get through the end of this season and get us ready for the end of season review. Hopefully within that episode there'll be an FA Cup final, because I think that is probably our only route to get back into Europe next season. I'll get through it as quick as I can. I'll be back in the next couple of days. And until then, hopefully you've enjoyed this as a really rapid update to get through the youth intake and see what's coming. A quick update on where we are and where we're going. And I will see you again soon.